You're live.
Did you get one too, or? Yeah.
This is still there, so
Oh,
we did a flip, okay, today.
Yeah, I stopped down on Monday or Tuesday night, I think it was the sign, I'm like, oh, I'm not here yet.
Like they really made
Oh, they're
that.
not
That's right.
The whole village is
You
third,
come here, you take-
signed up. Listen, I had people driving through road close signs.
Well, I think, yeah, I came late.
Sign told me nothing.
Those like, oh, this or-
No one looks appropriate, supposed to be there, but if the county doesn't put it back, that's on them.
Yeah.
It's like the crossing sign that they had there as well. They took that one down.
Really?
Yeah, somebody hit it with a car or truck,
Oh,
took it down, took it away.
just smiling up.
County.
He got a little concerned. He said he was outside, he came in, and he was like busy out there.
They're coming back from Burlington, it went from like 86 to 96.
The hottest night out today was 93.
Yeah, I came home with 91.
What is it?
I didn't find it warm enough to take the flannel off yet.
Breeze up.
No, this is the app here. in the office.
Oh.
Yeah.
Roger, there's way down on the cord, there's a switch. Don't touch, go down there, that's a pull cord. Or there was a button on the bottom of the cord. That's how you turn it off.
There's a button.
I tried to move those
There's a
dials.
brand new one sitting right there.
Yeah, when we gonna make a bigger hole in the wall?
It's been there for like 2-3 years now.
It has.
Since before I got done work. 2021.
There's another one around.
Yeah, in your office.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a paperweight.
But when you put it, like an elevate thing, when you think there's another foot.
Yeah. Good call, Ernie.
Oh, Okay,
All right.
so we'd like a motion to open the meeting. Tim makes the motion. Okay, Joe seconds it. All those in favor, aye, okay? Just Cindy Durant couldn't make it tonight. Her grandson is graduating at a BOCES ceremony in Malone, so she's excused from tonight. And Jim, the weather has gotten to Jim, so he's gonna be absent tonight. Guess he was out in the sun too long. So this is it. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have to look at the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting from May 19th, 2025.
Page 2. Fifth paragraph down. Fourth sentence. Line down rather. Goodrow should be spelled Godreau.
Anybody else? If there are no further questions, okay, I need a motion and a second. Tim makes the motion, Joe seconds it, all those in favor, aye. Minutes of the previous meeting is passed. Moving on, we have May financials. Any questions? All right, if there's no questions, we'll move on. Next, we have the concession payments, and then you can see that we're whittling this list down, all right? And of course, it's the end of this year, at least for the concessions. And I think that by the rest of these, most of them will disappear, okay, within the next few days. Any questions on concessions?
Is Rose Malone, is that the full painting still due? And is that last year's?
That is the 20, that started July 1st, okay, July 1st, 2024. Okay. So, just recently, they paid their tax, they have to pay their taxes. So their taxes have been paid, and we believe we're gonna see a check covering the rest of that. Okay, in a short period of time. With Lisa Stickney, though, that was a huge amount. It was also going back to 23, 24, as well, 24. Her son, okay, has religiously come in and at the end of each month made considerable payments. So he's actually letting his mother off the hook, and he's down to $50 on each piece of property. So he certainly kept his commitment and his promise that he would make continuous payments until it's caught up. If there's no further questions, we'll move on. The school bus, there's a letter, okay, addressed to me from Wayne Walbridge, the interim superintendent. I'm writing to inform you that the St. Lucia's Falls Central School District Board of Education at its meeting held on May 20th, 2025, accepted the 25-26 agreement between the Waverly and the St. Lucia's Falls, Waverly and the St. Lucia's Falls School District for the leasing of space for school buses. And the SRF has recommended that the new superintendent, due to come on board July 1st, will execute the contract. Therefore, we will hold the contract until July 1st. All right, and so therefore, that'll be a new order of business for the new superintendent to move that contract forward. So we're moving forward on that for 25-26. Any questions there? A couple developments, okay, on the campsite. The Waverly Youth Organization, all right, paid for a new gymnasium, a new gym set at the top of the campground for students, young students to play on. And so therefore, after quite a while, it's been put together and it's there and it's visible. So that's something that we didn't have a playground for last year, and now we have a play area for younger children. And we thank the Waverly Youth, okay, for purchasing that gymnasium or gym set, okay? And they were supposed to get back to me because there was a volunteer family who slowly put that thing together. right, but they did not give me the name, and I'll try to bring that forward at the next meeting. Just recently, in the lower loop of the campground where the seasonal trailers are, in the central area where the highway department raised the whole area by putting another 5-6 inches of gravel, right? We actually have a seasonal person who signed up to take one of the sites in that area. So that was nice to see that we're making progress there. So our attendance, okay, seems to be, especially on weekends, is pretty busy. And now it's gonna be busy pretty much, okay, Monday through Sunday. So we're making progress there. Any questions on the campsite? All right, just a reminder, okay, that the town offices are closed on Friday, July 4th. I'll be asking the board for an additional change. We'd also like to close the town offices on Thursday, July 3rd. But we would remain open, okay, on the 30th of June, which is a Monday, the 1st of July, which would be Tuesday, and then we'll be open on Wednesday, July 2nd. So when we're looking at it to be open, the town offices will be open the first 3 days of that week, and the offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday. Any questions there? Next town board meeting, okay, is July 28th, all right, which is the 4th Monday of the month. All right, so a fuel tank inspection by the DEC. There is a 4th tank that is used by the school for gasoline. This has been declared by the DEC as unacceptable tank. So we're working with the school district, okay, to remove that tank. The problems with the tank, all right, is that there's no fuel gauge, okay, saying how much gasoline is in the tank. And number 2, there's no vent for the tank. And so the school's in the process of working with us to remove that tank. They've pretty much decided that they're not gonna use that tank, and they're gonna buy the gasoline as they need it with a credit card or whatever with the quick stop. So, and this has been a pending problem since October, okay, 2023. So we're slowly resolving some of the issues that the DEC has there. Another issue that we have to address is there in the 8th tank, which is the surrounding area, which encompasses all the tanks, and is supposed to contain a spill if there's one. The alarm, when there's a leak going into that tank, that alarm is not working. So we're working there to replace that. Sure.
You're also gonna try and get the school to be on our permit where they're responsible for their tank that will be in there as well as the town's responsibility for the 2 tanks we have there.
Right. Very good point. So the
It's never been
DEC,
done before.
right, and the DEC noticed that there's a permit that cost us $300. Well, the school should be on for their 1 tank, which is gonna be diesel, all right? And then we have our tanks. So that permit's gonna have to be changed to show who has responsibility for the tanks.
And the reason for doing this is so if there is a potential leak with their tanks or violations, it's not our responsibility and our cost to take care of that. It will be on the school.
Now, are the tanks buried or are they above
Above
ground?
ground.
They're above
They're
ground.
on concrete containment.
They don't have to be above ground, right?
Depending on the spec, I believe you can still bury tanks, but it has to be a certain tank.
Yeah, and it might have to be a double or triple wall to put it underground. These are above ground.
In the past, the town has picked up all expenses for any violations and repairs, and that's not the way it should be.
Anything else? So assessor's position update. So, what I'd like to do is develop an interview committee, which would be encompass myself, a member of the BAR, which is the Board of Assessment Review, and then one town board member. And I do believe we're gonna probably have at least 2 candidates to interview for the assessor. So,
Have you talked to the other two to see if they are interested, or should we wait and see?
it was in the notes, okay, on that informational material, all right? And no one has said anything, okay?
We're both like, okay.
Or do you, probably, I meant to ask her before.
Well, I mean, I wanna have them an option before,
Yeah, exactly.
if they say yes or not too. I mean, I'm fine with it, I'm sure you're probably fine with it.
No, we should make a decision so we can go forward. Okay? You okay with that, Tony? Okay. Well, you work full-time too, so it makes it a little
I
hard.
have 2 hours a day.
Yeah, see, I work too, but I don't have to do that job.
So I do believe Nadine Socha, who chairs the BAR, she would also serve as the third person. And of course, we're just, give our thoughts. The entire board will have the final decision of who the assistant's going to be. Thank you. All right, so at the last meeting, we talked, okay, briefly, okay, about how our assessor, particularly on the properties on the North River Road and South River Road, okay, that they were directed, okay, by the Office of Real Property to drop off the $2,000 assessment on the land, on the land that were full lots, okay, that the assessment was dropped. Okay. So I have some information on here. The copier's on the fritz, so I only have 3 copies. I know you are particularly interested in this, Lawrence. Okay? So, as it turns out, Tammy Brooks says that the assessment should be eliminated on these property because New York State real property tax law says that this has to be done. That we cannot force the leasing, okay, to pay the land tax. The leasing only pays on the structure assessments. And so this has been $2,000 has been taken off on each of these leased properties. And this law was passed in the 1990s, and nothing's been done about it. So that's why it was done. And so in the paperwork I gave here is quotes from the different parts of the laws and legal decisions on and the parts of the law are highlighted, okay, in the paperwork that I gave to Lawrence. And I'd have more copies. I wanted to make 6 or 7, but copier just stopped.
They usually do that when they run out of paper.
No. We've been having problems. We called the guy. Oh, it's working fine, and all of a sudden it stops. And it says, oh, it's gonna adjust itself after this error. Well, it's been stop and go all day.
Just, it's not working.
It's too hot.
Our maintenance guy will be here tomorrow. We'll deal with this. I asked, Tammy Brooks, okay, was there any other place that this happened in Franklin County? All right, and then she mentioned McCavenaugh Pond, okay? But there, okay, the trust or the group that owns it, they were charging double taxes. She said there was double taxation going on there. So therefore, the people who have lots in the Cavanagh Pond will not have to pay the land, okay, assessment, just what's on their property. And then we're not gonna lose it because then the entire organization is gonna pay the taxes on the land. All right, did I give you two?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't. Remember that.
Okay, I remember you had a question on it, that's the only reason why I brought it up.
What did you, cause at the time, Pam Swope, when she put that 2,000 on up there, she contacted somebody, she just didn't do it on her own. I think she contacted somebody from real property.
Oh, we'd have to look back, maybe this was before the law was passed. No.
You said it was in 90,
Well,
yeah, she did this in the last, what, maybe 15 years, Roger?
Yeah, 15, 18, yeah, someplace in there. Yeah. Where it was just a lease and then the building tax and then,
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
Yep. and then all the vacant lots decided to get a dollar amount set at them. All the land was, and we questioned it back then and she stood to her guns and
She got a
she said it was
opinion
completely legal, yeah.
from someone.
right,
So maybe it is legal to tax it, but you can't force the leasee to pay it. That may be, you know, you can set
There's
you know what I'm saying?
there's
There might be
something
a-
there, 'cause she,
gray area right there
Right.
where you can set a dollar amount on it, but you can't force the tenant to pay it.
right.
she might remember, I imagine she would.
Yeah, she
Remember
probably got
where she got
paperwork and
the
stuff, yeah.
information to do that. She was pretty adamant
Yeah,
about
she
it.
was.
And it was legal at the time, and they were really questioning it.
Well, maybe for the next meeting, I'll question her and see how she feels about this. Because when you read the law, okay, it states right there, okay, that it's not the responsibility of the leasing. All right, the ARPA funding, the COVID monies things, all right, that's still being very much a trying experience for us, okay? We still have to provide them with more information so we can get into the portal, okay? And then I got a letter last week that they're gonna close the portal on Wednesday of this week, all right? But I did get a letter, okay, from the Association of Towns as to when you're having problems like this, to notify your congressional representatives that you're having issues. So that ultimately they can help us out with this. So that's where we stand right now. And I'm planning to get a letter out to Stefanik, okay, to let her know about our problems. with this part of the federal government.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, I know. Any questions? All right, it's not on the agenda, but I got a couple of things, okay? Our APR for 2022, last Thursday, it was submitted by Gray and Gray to the controller's office. So it's been submitted for review by the controller's office on Thursday, June 19th. So that's 2022. And if we have the turnaround that we had in 2021, we'll be working on 2023. So we're making progress on that.
Two more years.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer. The second piece of good news, okay, is that our initial payment from FEMA for all the flood damage that we had from last August, okay, I filed the final paperwork on June 20th, and so this is the first of many claims that we're gonna submit. And so at some point, New York State is gonna refund us $17,000 on this. And then the FEMA people down in Albany, they're planning to come to the North Country the week after July 4th to help the various townships with their paperwork. And they're gonna come and help me that week. So those are two pieces of encouraging news. Any questions so far? Video camera and surveillance system quotes.
So I went over them. Adderall alarm didn't get back to me, so I have nothing to base it on, and I see it went up. It was 1,400 when I got the original, and then they went up to 14,000.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. Not hearing back from them, calling them, and for a couple of days not hearing back, I'd be very reserved against going with someone that, if we had an issue, are they going to get back to us? I did talk with Adirondack Tech. They want to continue to work off the existing infrastructure with stuff that works well that we already have here. They want to run a fiber line down to the water sewage treatment plant. So that would actually start to improve the campsite too. We'll be able to work off of that infrastructure. The system based on Ubiquity, which is the same thing that all of our wireless bridges are currently done. We didn't get any more information. The last one was just so high, it was double the cost of everybody else, and I didn't think it was excessive compared to the other two bids. So currently, I would say Adirondack Tech would be the one I would go with, because it's going to actually expand our campground network at some point, because it's going to be the infrastructure in there, and it works with what we already have. So it's just kind of building on our existing system instead of having a hodgepodge of different systems all over. And with that infrastructure alone, the fiber getting us there, it allows a lot of options where we don't have to throw a bridge all the way down there. We don't have to worry about being intermittent. It's a solid connection. With a bridge, if it's storming out, it may go out. Whereas with the fiber, we're getting at least a dedicated signal to somewhere in the campground.
Where are they gonna run that from, Tim?
I don't know.
Like right here or someplace down there?
Somewhere down there. I
Yeah,
do
connect in and then.
Yeah. And we can go a little further with that with them if we want to, but I just checked to see, it was like, well, how are we getting down there?
Right.
What are we using? It's basically pretty much what we have here. It works with it. And a lot of medium businesses use the Ubiquity system. So it's very well known, it's very easy. Anyone can find information about it, and it's not like proprietary. Because some of the systems you get, you're like, okay, unless you are a dealer, you can't get information on it or buy parts. We can, if we decide that somewhere down the line, say Adirondack Tech goes out of business, we would just take the cloud controller over and just remap it, and we'd have the system back up and running. And we can buy piecemeal as we need it for the different cameras, as they improve them or as they go up.
Well, it's nice that it's same company and you don't have the, oh, it's this person, it's this
Right, and
person.
you don't have someone blaming somebody else saying, well, the network's down because of them, and they're saying it's down because of them. We have none of that.
Plus the ability of probably to shoot, okay, the internet down there, off that cable.
But that just works on the expansion eventually of the campground and the wireless there.
Very good.
Long run will help us money.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Thank you, Tim. Beach update. The beach crew is starting their staging to get the beach open, all right, for this Saturday. And so, new sinks, okay, new toilets are being put into the beach house. And, all of the equipment on the beach is gonna be put in place over the next few days. All of the lifeguards are certified, okay, and they've been hired by the board. So we're ready to go with personnel, and we're gonna get all the materials together. So it opens, okay, a week from Saturday. It's really this Saturday, I think, not a week from this Saturday. Any questions? The water and sewer report, at the last meeting, we were talking about, okay, the UV screens that weren't working, okay? So new screens, okay, or boards have been put into place, all right? And the technician came from the company, because it's all under warranty. He says the boards are fine, but he thinks the plugs, okay, and the elements, okay, are faulty. So they're in the process of changing those. So, but the good thing is the UV system is working and it's killing germs before this water enters the river, except that you can't read all the information, okay, what's happening minute by minute. But when we do the hand tests, all right, they tells us what our counts are when they go to the lab and they're tested. So that's the main thing that's been going on down there. And we started the advertisement for a part-time water and wastewater treatment plant operator trainee. It was put in the free trader last Thursday, and we've been hanging up signs around town. So we're looking to do a hire there and collect applications. Jared had some phone calls, I had some phone calls, and so there is interest. And we'll see what develops there.
What did we say for the deadline to apply?
Until it's filled. I didn't put a deadline on it, okay? But it doesn't say it's until it's filled. Which we might do it at the July meeting, but if we're not ready, it'll be the August meeting.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no questions, Roger, you're up.
As you see, we fixed Main Street, County Rail 5. We took care of the water issue that everybody's been complaining about, that the county left us with. I sent her any photographs of how it was fixed, what we utilized. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. Mowing, doing shoulder work, we're ready for blacktop the second week of July, just waiting for confirmation from our pavers. All our culverts are shimmed at this point. We're putting up our sand. Seaway, again, is giving us free sand, stream sand. So saves us quite a process going to the pit, digging it out ourselves, streaming it, bringing it to the pile. It's quite nice of them. At some point, we're in discussions of having Seaway come in and crush in our pit, put up some gravel for us. They're talking halves, no money exchanged, but they are talking about writing up a contract, so whatever materials are put there, it's all legal instead of word of mouth and having the gravel disappear and they have nothing to show for it. That's pretty much all I got right now. Any questions? I would like to say, if Cindy was here, I would like to pick on her a little bit, because she was one of the ones that complained about Main Street question. And gratification goes a long ways, a simple thank you. Job looks good, goes a long ways for the highway department, for the men, keeps the morale up. And I don't believe anybody's come and said, hey, you guys did a good job out there. Not to any one of them. So they could use some support. Just
They
for,
spent a good amount of time working on that, and it's a lot of work.
yep. But yeah, a little gratitude goes a long way for people.
In that case, I thought you said you weren't going to fix it. The county was going to do it. I saw it fixed, but I just assumed wrongfully that the county fixed it. It looks outstanding.
Sat right here and said the county refused to fix it, said it was the town of Waverly's problem.
I heard that, and then you said you weren't going to do it. They
When
were
we-
still
when
going
we
to do
got-
it, so.
We got the-
But anyway, I assumed the county did that because of the verbiage that was said here, so. You did an outstanding job, Roger. I'm enormously proud of you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
But it's not me. Thank them guys
Okay, well, you
when
supervise.
you see them.
If you did a crappy job, then they did a crappy job, then we'd be telling you did a crappy job too.
And I would take full responsibility
Okay,
for that.
so. You get both of them.
Well, I don't understand why you had Dupier do the blacktop.
Come on, come on.
I'll tell you, that's a professional looking job.
I
I've
shed a
seen
lot of sweat right
patches
there.
done, but that's one of the best patches I've seen.
appreciate it, Lawrence.
You guys did a good job mowing on the Wake Road too. See how it can get better. Thanks.
No problem.
Now if we can get the county or whoever owns the other side of the road.
The
out.
state,
State.
probably in August, after butterfly season's done and bee season's done,
Turtles.
turtles,
Turtles,
yeah,
wow.
fawn season's over.
Yeah, the state will eventually show up. Okay. They cut brush down on either sides of the bridges last week.
Must have been for your view.
No, they did it over here too, okay, on this bridge. Okay, very good. Moving on, action items, we have, so I know it's not written there, but, the week of the 4th, if the board could recognize that we're only going to be open June 30th, and the 1st and 2nd of that week, and we will be closed the 3rd and 4th. If I could have a motion for that. Jill makes the motion, Tim seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. So that schedule has changed. We have individuals for Waverly Youth Corps. The first one, and she worked last year for us, Emily Hadlock, at $16 an hour. And that's what we paid the kids last year. So it's actually minimum wage is now $15.50, so they're getting 50 cents more than minimum wage. Because they're all, you wanna do, as a whole group?
Yeah, we can.
Because it's all the same rate, okay?
Yeah.
So Emily Hadlock at $16 an hour. David Hart worked last year, he's coming back at $16 an hour. Newcomer Tara Batchelder at $16 an hour, and Eric Dool at $16 an hour. He worked a few years ago, in 22, 23 for Waverly Youth, and he wants to come back. I need a motion and a second. Tim makes the motion, Joe seconds it, all those in favor? These individuals are employed for this summer. All right, I think we're ready to accept the bid for the video camera surveillance system.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you talk to Adirondack Tech? How long of a process would it be to get this done?
I don't know. One of the positive things, they are in town, so they're not traveling far to get here to. And they do this for, you know, the
Yeah.
fire and everything for a living.
I'm just wondering, is it gonna take 2 months, 2 years?
I would say it probably won't take more than a month. We can confirm it, but.
Yeah.
Right, we
I'm just
can confirm.
Well,
I need a motion. Joe makes the motion, Tim seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. We accept the bid from Adirondack Tech for our video camera surveillance system at $11,850. That bid's accepted. Public and board comments.
Where is that 11,000 coming from? What account?
This is how I think, it's gonna come from various accounts, okay? The bulk of it will come, okay, from the building account, in the general budget, the building account, okay? But the cameras that are gonna go to the water, okay, department, that'll come from the water department. The camera down in the sewage treatment plant will come from the sewer budget. The library, okay, the camera up at the library will come out of the general budget, but the line item for the budget, there's money there. So it's gonna come from those from different parts.
What are the summer help gonna, what are they gonna work on this year? You got a project for them? Besides walking around with a bag, picking up trash?
Well, that will occur to some degree, okay? There'll be weed whacking, okay, in certain areas, okay, in the campsite, maybe down by the beach, all right? They're probably gonna move some of the sand that's put on the beach, okay, that'll help
What
spread
we
it.
have, you contract out the weed whacking on the town property. That's all contracted out.
Not the campsite.
And
No.
also,
Not the campsite.
you have 2 workers down in the campsite to do the weed whacking. And then we do the same thing, every year I bring up the same thing. What are you gonna do for these youth workers? To give them a little experience on something, besides, I'm sitting on insurance sports last year, and 2 of them came by, had their bag. About an hour later, they come back and they got maybe a couple pieces of trash in there. I said something to one of the kids that, I do this all day, he said $16 an hour. So, I mean, they're not learning. They're not gaining an experience.
Well, they learn they don't want to work for me.
Yeah, that's what they should be.
I had them
They
over
should
the
learn-
beach and they were shoveling sand and they did not like me as their supervisor.
No, and that's
There
what they
wasn't no
need,
standing
the
around
kids
talking.
need that, they don't need to be, you know, it gives them experience, what it's gonna be like when they get older. Or if they're just skate through life,
Mhm.
Well, there's stuff, is there stuff down in the campground that can help do
Well-
cleaning or something?
they used to have, they'd have 8, 10 of them, and they'd be down there cleaning. It's not their job, it shouldn't be their job, you got 2 people down there, and it's not that busy. But every year, you know, every year I bring it up, and every year we, do the same thing. Well, I mean,
Who manages
I
the
think
kids
we're-
right now?
John Dufresne. Okay. He's the direct supervisor of these kids. One of the things, well, we're looking at, there's certain repairs that are made in the campsite and the wood's still bare, so there's staining that has to be done. And I think some of the picnic tables, of the 15 that were purchased, there's a few more that need, okay, more stain. And I think we're looking at painting, okay, in the beach house. So those are some additional things that would be done.
Well, with the cemetery, got the restorations or anything on that they can work on? Just the cemetery stones?
that was something we were gonna discuss.
Yeah, we're gonna
Bring it up at.
It could be part of that.
If you wanna bring some of it up at now, or that we discussed, to do up there.
Do you want us to jump into that, or do you want to keep with the, I don't want to.
Well, you know, more ideas is a good thing, more options.
So the 3 of us met down at the cemetery. And we looked at what needed to be done, a couple rules and stuff like that, to clean it up so it doesn't look, I wouldn't say trashy, but there's plastic flowers that have been there for, oh, Lord knows how long. It needs to be picked up in the winter, and then if they want to come back in the spring, this is just a suggestion, they can put it back, but stuff needs to be cleaned out. We don't want them to plant bushes or trees. We have what must have been small bushes on a lot of the gravestones, and they're just huge now and out of control. We can take care of the small bushes, the saplings, there's lots of saplings too growing, and the small trees, but the bigger one would be used from the money we have for the cemetery to take some of these giant pines out. It will open up the whole area. And then, of course, we want to do a work day, which maybe we could include the workers on that, where we clean up the small shrubs, get it under control. It looks already though with the new lawn care people amazing. But we need to keep the trees from getting out of control, and eventually you can see where some tree was planted right next to a gravestone, and it's so big, it's gonna push the gravestone right over.
Yeah, it was put in as a tool, and they put in as little hemlock shrubs, now they're that big around. That's why you have to have rules.
I was gonna say, do we have any rules and stipulations to that?
That's what we were trying to, gonna.
We're just kind of talking it out now, we want to give people a chance to respond. I'll post it on the website. I don't know where else we want to post it, but just these are the changes we're looking to do, and if people want to add comments to that, not just do it, and then all of a sudden someone say, well, question I had thought of too is, are there still lots available? I know nothing about the cemetery and that.
Yeah, there's lots available.
So we should probably advertise that. I can put it on the website is, if there are lots available, people may want them, but I had no idea whether that was full or not full.
The back section is the area, pretty much.
Yeah, right, way to the south, way in the back, which is the south end, okay, that's where the vacant lots are. And Corey was very helpful because a family purchased a complete lot, okay? He showed me how to do all the paperwork, how to establish the deed, okay, and that's all.
And that's something I'd like to start back. I had started it, but I think I need to really outsource it, as we really need to document everything on that cemetery is written by hand in ledgers. So it would be really nice to have a digitized copy of, okay, what's where, who owns it. Eventually, maybe document all the gravestones, so we have them before some of them are gonna wear away over time. Just kind of an idea. And there's some that we're pretty sure where they're supposed to be, but they've been tipped over, or they're small, or they're in bushes now. And I'm sure at one time it was probably a little bush next to it, and it just grew out of control.
I'll have the kids start on that.
Yep.
I mean, they have the technology, the experience to do it.
So we would need a professional arborer to take some of the bigger trees out.
Without a doubt, if you know, because you can't drop the tree, you gotta cut the tree off and
In
bring it down
sections
to pieces.
and rope it down, and,
Right,
because you don't want to hit any of the gravestones either.
you certainly don't want to do that.
And I'll try to get on the next one. I didn't realize I'm heading out Friday, or I would have gone, I was gonna go to a workshop in Saranac Lake at the Pine Street Cemetery. But I didn't realize I'm leaving for New Hampshire that day. So I'm gonna find out when they have it again. I'd like to learn how to professionally restore the grave sites. Then we have somebody else, and maybe we'll raise money, but I think they may have this open again, because it was sold out. It was sold out very quickly, actually. I think it went, and within 2 or 3 weeks, the class was closed.
Well, if we want to have some summer workers do it, we
No.
probably should get them on board to be
Really
able
sad
to do
with
it.
that.
If either you want to go, I can check and see if they'll transfer. It's on Friday, the 27th, I think.
Yeah, I got something going on, I can do
But
that.
I'll try to get back to it again, or,
The thing I wanted to bring up also was, we were discussing about when you make some rules and changes up there, you're gonna take some flack. So that's why I suggest that we talk about it at one meeting, give a month, and then act on it the next meeting.
I would agree.
So people have but when you make rules and regulations, they have to be enforced. You're gonna have people that are gonna give you flack, but you stick by your rules and regulations. Just because it's 3 or 4 people show up and start bitching, you stick to you tell them, you had a month to comment, and
What is the start date for the youth council?
Probably at the end of this week.
Can we go to the end of August?
No, not the end of August, the beginning of August.
I'd say we can
That's
do one
always
with them to
6
start.
weeks.
Month, 5 weeks,
I
6
think
weeks.
it's 6 weeks, is generally what they're here for.
Usually when the beach closes.
I'd say some of them can go over and just start inventorying and start laying it out and.
There was something else that we got. We're going to need the highway superintendent's help. If we clean up all this stuff and put it on the side of the road, can the highway department take care of that for us?
with stuff, it'll be mostly.
The brush.
Brush,
Yeah,
the
brush.
brush.
Small
things
stuff,
like
like, mostly, lilac bushes, blackberry bushes, small. It'll all be stacked in one, couple of areas, so it'll be easy to pick up. But if, maybe on a couple of days, if the board gave me permission, I could, maybe work with some of them up at the cemetery. Some of the youth.
What's the rest?
And that would be a good job, you're right, certain gravestones, there's always bushes coming out around them. And that shouldn't be, you know what I mean?
There's one site towards the back that, I don't know what type of flowers they are, but they're all over the place. And we found, I think it was 2 or was it 3 headstones that were on the ground that you can't see, that almost covered over, so, you know, no idea.
It's probably lilies of the valley. People put that and then that
And they just
spreads,
keep spreading.
it spreads.
Yeah,
Same way with lilac bushes.
Mhm.
And they'll sucker up, and they'll come up next, I was showing Tim there, where there's one bush and about 20 feet away, it's coming right up. And the people that are contracted out to take care of that, they don't know. I mean, they weed whack around it. But I'll tell you, they're doing an excellent
Yes,
job.
Oh, yeah.
They do. Unbelievable.
You
And
know,
they say they're gonna take care of it, I think you were saying, but when they pass away,
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
gravestone there and nobody to, you know, I've got family members that.
Right, they'll tell you, and that's what happens. And that's why they'll take care of that shrub, but eventually that shrub is gonna,
Become a tree.
yeah,
And then that's a problem in
Yeah.
the cemetery. In gravestone.
You know, I just had a thought process. We take and we have to have this as a drop dead date. We take the flags down right after, Veterans Day, give or take a couple days. And the Girl Scouts want to help this year. So that's something we could do, say all plastic flowers have to be removed by
So I was just gonna say,
before Veterans, something like that. But we have to have this carbon concrete. And then when we're going around doing the flags with the Girl Scouts, we can take those up and put them in a nice pile for our favorite.
And that should be one of the rules, okay?
So I was in Dickerson Cemetery just the other day, and they actually have a plaque right out front with all the
Yeah.
rules and regulations right beside the road when you drive in.
So,
oh, St.
When you
Anne's
start
is,
making
you know,
rules and regulations, you should put one on every entrance.
Yeah.
Metal
Great
signs,
idea.
exactly and they say right down at Dickerson, no plastic flowers.
That's the St. Anne's is the same thing, so.
yeah, but
Because nobody picks them
have
up.
you noticed St. Anne's? How bad it's getting?
Not even over lately.
It's bad.
Mhm.
There was a few artificials and now and it says right on the thing, July, all artificial flowers must be removed by July 5th, I think it says. I think that's what it says on the way out. That's what I said, when you make rules and regulations, you'll enforce them, and otherwise, don't even make them.
I agree 100%
Put
with
the date.
that.
put the date down, it has to be removed, and if it's not, then it will be removed.
You may want to do, you were talking before, maybe even doing a fundraiser, maybe to pay for the sign, that's gonna cost some money.
Mhm.
Have a sign maker make it with the rules on it. Yes,
They're
Well,
generally not too expensive, Tim.
No.
You know, I mean, we have signs made on a
Okay.
regular basis, so, I mean, it might be a couple $100 or something.
Okay.
but,
perfect. I didn't have any idea how much
Yeah, like our road signs and stuff, they're
I
generally
know.
$50 to $150, depending on the size and the lettering on them.
You have 5,100 right in that account now.
Yes, okay. Plus what,
Plus what's
from
budgeted.
plus what was budgeted, okay?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But then some of that's coming out to pay for.
How much was budgeted?
Also,
How much was budgeted, I don't remember,
I,
roughly,
I
38,000,
can't remember.
50,000?
More like 3,500.
Maybe 3,500.
I was hoping.
You're,
Here in Brown County.
what time do you look at? What time do you look at? Okay?
But yeah,
Well, these are all good ideas.
You got Ernie's attention.
Yeah, I know.
It didn't take long.
The, the big thing, is this is good. We set the rules and then we make the sign.
yeah,
And
and
put 'em up.
then
That's a plan.
Whatever
They're
the
pretty
date is,
standard
we
rules, I
enforce
think,
it.
in most cemeteries.
Excuse me?
I think they're pretty much standard for most cemeteries. So it's not like we're recreating the
No.
wheel or
No.
anything, it's just,
and for all we know, those rules may be already in place, it's just not being enforced, I don't know, so.
Yeah. So you're looking at doing the cleanup at some point, and we're gonna possibly have the youth council help them?
Yeah, and we were gonna have a cleanup, Tim said that we were gonna try to have one.
They're organizing a weekend. And
If you, let us know when about the time you're gonna do it, we could probably drop the truck off, so nobody's handling stuff 2-3 times. We just
It's a good idea.
cut it and throw it right in the truck, and we can get rid of it.
Say we actually gonna do this, and it's just,
Now, I just thought process, if the the youth, they work Monday through Friday. If
It's only
they
3
would-
days.
What's that?
It's only 3 days,
3
Monday,
days?
Tuesday, Friday.
So if you gave them one of those days off, could they work on a Saturday if we have a cleanup?
We're the boss, so we tell them.
Well, I don't know if there was rules about them not working on the weekends or something, or,
There's no rule.
Okay.
They generally work
So that's-
weekdays.
that's a.
I think of enough
At least we
notice
know
to
this
say,
work,
this
there's
is
gonna
what
be
day
4
you're
people
working.
show up for the workday.
We might have to rethink that, okay, because if we're asking for volunteers on a work day, but then part of the people are getting paid, so maybe we need to think about that.
But that would just be the youth if you just get paid. I mean, if some other youth show up, I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
They're volunteers.
it's part of their, it's just part, I mean,
They could apply.
They could apply the
Yeah.
same way these people did, so.
I'm looking at the law of averages, if we put a work day, what's gonna show up? 2 or 3 people if you're lucky. So if we have 4 for sure that's gonna show up, plus what's gonna be here helping, so. we
because
can
people are
get
gonna
that
show
done.
up, are gonna show up because they want to.
Yes,
You know, it's, because they wanna make a difference. These kids, or whoever can,
The only stipulation I will say is make sure they're of age, if they're using saws, clippers, or anything sharp,
Yeah.
they have to be a proper age.
What is it,
Machetes.
16 with a
I don't,
lockers or something?
yeah, 15 or 16 for,
Even though lockers,
This
it's
is a chainsaw.
restricted by age. They're not giving them change.
well, it's no different than having working papers. You have to be 14 or 13 and have working papers as well, something like that. And then there's certain things you can use, like they can't use a wood splitter until they're 16 or 17. There's state mandated. Yeah. So you have to do a little digging in to see who's old enough to do what, and what you plan on having them do versus just carry brush. You know, which is fine, but if you're gonna hand them clippers or hand them a machete and say, go hack away at this, make sure they're of age and responsible. I don't wanna see anybody getting hurt or anybody getting in trouble.
No, we don't want that at all. Certainly try to work hard to avoid that.
And if you do need safety gear or something, let us know.
Yeah, they should.
If you do need
Yeah,
safety
gloves,
gear, let us know.
Yeah.
Safety glasses, gloves, something like that.
You got plenty of gloves that they can wear.
so as far as for the Legion, we are putting the banners up this Saturday to have them up for the 4th of July. The good news is we have run out of places to put flags from sign to sign on 458 going straight down 5. So we contacted Dickinson, and now I got about 14 or 15 roughly to put up in Dickinson, and some of the ones here we're gonna transfer to Dickinson, the people that belong to Dickinson, so. So we'll have this be all full here and have a good portion, probably 20 or so roughly, at the 15 to 20 in Dickinson.
Just another thought, if you wanna go out 458,
Yeah, we go
That's the
almost to your house. We put like 4 or 5 there.
Very good.
and then all the way up and down. And last year we had no room at all. And I know I ordered, I think it's 18, which should be coming in any day now. But a good portion of it will go to Dickinson, so.
Could we do some on Spring Street?
Yeah,
or-
worst case is we'll have to
Yeah.
do that area if that happens, yes.
Anything else? All right, so we want to have an executive session to discuss collective bargaining. And there will be no action items after the executive session.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you send that video to us?
Yeah,
You got,
I took your phone number, it's 7,
yeah,
or what I have for you, then I'll just forward it to yourself.
yeah, would you please, thank you. And Roger, I'm sorry to assume.
We need to do a vote to go into executive session. Joe made the motion. Ken seconded.
I did it.
All those in favor, we're in executive session.
Not my first rodeo.
Can I show you this? I've replaced 5 of those in the cemetery. Some animal is chewing the flags right off.
That'd be a porcupine if they're chewing them up like that.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Lawrence thought it was a squirrel, but I don't
I
think.
can't imagine
Here,
it's
this
full
dog
of
got into a porcupine, I can remove all the quills. It's not a pretty thing, I sent him a video, because I didn't know how you're supposed to take them out. Basically, you have to yank them out,
Yes, you do.
and you have to feel around in the skin to make sure they didn't get,
Too deep.
well,
Ticks.
Good night,
so
Don.
they went to the vet, and the vet missed a few in the chest.
Take care,
so they had to
guys.
Go back.
Okay, good night.
Good night, Dad.
Well, it's back around where you are too. Because Dicky's just 2 months down.
Oh, you wanna get that?
Oh, yeah, let me stop that.